Hi, my name is Lee. I'm a library instruction assistant, and today I'm going to talk to you about citing your resources using IEEE Citation. So IEEE stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, and as you can hear, I'm calling it IEEE. You could call it IEEE. IEEE citation style is the professionally agreed upon standard that everyone in engineering, computer science, and technological fields use to cite research and works that they use in their research. So if you're continuing on in the field, you will definitely use IEEE in your career. So first, let's talk about in-text citations. So in-text citations are used in the body of your paper to refer to an item on your reference list in the resources that you use. So when you write a sentence and you need to cite something within that sentence, like an idea or some data or even some direct words, you would use a bracketed number to refer to the item on your reference list. And these numbers go in order, starting with 1 all the way up to how many sources you have. And you can use these bracketed numbers in the body of your paper at the end of your sentence, as you can see in this example right here, or following a noun that refers to something in your resource, as you can see in this example at the bottom. Either way is acceptable. It's up to you how you want to do it. So if you want to cite multiple things at once in an in-text citation, say you're using 2 sources in one particular sentence, you would just separate them by a comma, as you can see with this top example. If you want to cite a range of things, such as in the second example, you would use a dash. So say you wanted to use references 3, 4, and 5, you would just use a dash between a bracketed 3 and a bracketed 5. And that means that you're citing a range of sources. You can also cite multiple things at once by placing a bracket after an author's name. So in the third example, you can see, say you used a resource from this author, Savetta. You could put the resource, bracketed 6, right behind their name. And then you used a resource from Strix, S-Trix. You could put a bracketed 7 after their name. And you could also combine these styles as well. So you could separate 2 sources with a comma, you could do a range, etc. And in this final example, you can see they're using it as the end of the sentence footnote style. So let's talk about reference lists. So the bracketed in-text citation numbers correspond with resources on your reference list. So if you used a resource bracketed 1 in the body of your paper in the in-text citation, on your reference list, that would be bracketed 1. And your reference list usually is at the end of your paper on a separate piece of paper. And at the top of the page, you would write the word reference. So as you can probably tell, reference lists in IEEE are not alphabetical. Instead, they go in the order that they appear in the paper. So resource bracketed 1 would be the first one, the first item on your reference list. Resource bracketed 2 in the paper would be the second item on the reference list. So on and so on. Authors' names are always referred to with their initials followed by their surname. So you wouldn't use anyone's full name. For example, if James Brown wrote a paper, on your reference list, you would use J. Brown. Or if someone named Elizabeth Ann Martinez wrote a paper, you would write E.A. Martinez, etc. So no full names. And you can list up to 6 authors in a reference list citation, which I'll show you how to do in a second. But if you go over 6, you would just list one name, the first name on the resource. For example, J. Brown. And then you would use the phrase et al. Et al. Refers to a list of authors. So what we're looking at now is how a basic IEEE citation for a book. And don't worry, I'm going to give you some guides where you can see how to do this for every type of item, but this is just an example. So as you can see, the basic format is you would have the bracketed number, the author's name, just their initials and their last name, the title of the chapter of the book, the title of the book, so on and so on. You can use these examples to input information from your own resources. And right here you can see a sample. This is a sample of how a book would be cited in IEEE. So similarly, academic journal articles have their own format, but it's very similar to books. Again, you would have a bracketed number, the author's name, initials, the title of the resource, followed by the title of the periodical, followed by the volume, and so on and so on. Again, you can see this in a guide that I'll send you. Same with citing a website. It's a little bit less information, but it's formatted much the same. So example, bracketed number, the author, the title, the URL, the date accessed, the month and the year, etc. So where I got these examples from can be found at Purdue OWL's IEEE Citation Guide, which you can see the link at the top of the screen here. I'm going to send this PowerPoint to your professor, so you can click the link directly from the PowerPoint if you like. But Purdue OWL is very useful. They'll show you how to cite basically all types of guides, and they can show you how you should format your paper using IEEE. Probably the first resource that I would go to when looking at IEEE Citation. You could also use a citation generator for IEEE. Those are useful. Basically, you just input the information that it asks for about the specific source, and then it gives you an IEEE citation output. But with these, you should be sure to double check because they're not always in the correct order. Finally, another resource you could use that will be included in the PowerPoint below is the IEEE Author Center. Again, this gives you examples of all different types of IEEE resource types, videos, websites, journal articles, etc. And you can use those as examples for your own resources. All right, thank you very much. If you have any specific questions, you can email me at thomas.howick@rrcc.edu, or you can always book a librarian and we'll sit down and work out some of these resource citations for you. The link to book a librarian is pictured right here on the screen. You can also find it on the main page of the library website. All right, have a good day and good luck with your IEEE in-text citations and reference lists.